Alright, welcome back for the next one. Today we are doing the Flashpoint referred to as Steel Beast. In this one we take on basically a hit contract for our friend from the Iron Commonwealth, Herr Stieglitz-Bradford, whose nephew was killed, as you find out here, in the arenas of Solaris 7, which is something I can get into at some point about BattleTech if I need to. But apparently he was challenged to a friendly exhibition match, and the opponent smashed his cockpit and turned him into snail snot. So the family is not happy and basically puts out a hit contract on him that you are taking up for them. So this is an odd one, and you don't really get a lot out of it, but it's still kind of fun, so I figured I'd go ahead and put this one up. I did have one I did before this that was another odd but interesting one that for some reason the video file that I recorded, not even the rendering but the actual recording from the game, was so badly corrupted I couldn't use it. And by the time I realized that, I'd already moved well past it and wasn't going to backtrack and do it again and have to do everything subsequent all over again. So we'll just ignore that one. But that was one where you get invited to take part in a tournament of champions and have to basically double cross the opposition for the benefit of the Federated Sons. Although you have the option not to, but I've never taken it. Just something about the way the mission goes makes me a little worried about my bottom line and losing my pilots. So I just have never done it. I feel like there's way too big of a risk of losing some very good pilots in that one. So I never bother doing it. All the time and effort put into getting them trained up and trying to keep them alive to throw them away in a pointless mission just doesn't seem right. The mercenary in me says, nope, the return is not worth the investment on that.
Location confirmed. Move order.
So right now he's got his little retinue of followers here on Herodotus, however it's supposed to be pronounced, that you need to take out, and then the second part of this is getting to a broadcasting station to issue a challenge to him with the video of you taking out all his friends here. And I will say the first part of this goes much better than the second part. At least for me. I've had times when it's the other way around.
Hostile on sensors.
I make the mistake in the second one of knowing the opposition that I could be running into, of taking my assault mechs. I think I should have just stuck with my heavies and stuck with mobility over brute force. But, what's done is done. I didn't lose anybody, but really did some damage, and one or two of my pilots had to spend a little time in the infirmary recovering when it was over before I could do the final part of the mission.
Up a new sensor trace. Looks like enemy reinforcements.
So,
Ready
so
for
far
orders.
we've got, what is it, I think an archer and a griffin, is it
Copy
up there?
that.
And then other stuff moves in little by little closer into the fight, plus there's another lance that just spawned in. So he's taken down.
That's a kill.
I don't think I was even trying for a headshot on that one. I think it just happened.
Waiting for orders. Moving out. Firing on target.
I think it's a full lance, this first one, and then the second one is I think only 3, but one of the 4 in this is the Shrek BBC carrier. So relatively easy to take out. They dish out a lot more damage than they can take.
All weapons committed.
That's him down.
Enemy mech destroyed.
So there's half the lance taken out. The reinforcements are moving up.
Enemy sensor lock detected.
Mission confirmed.
You'll notice too, if you watch carefully on these as these go, I do continue tweaking the weapons loadouts on
Move
my
her down.
mechs. A couple of times I get things like targeting computers and things that take up weight. So if I want to use them, sometimes I got to take something off. Like on the Marauder there going forward, I eventually remove the autocannon because I get a really good targeting computer for beam weapons to make it even more accurate. So I swap them out for some good hard-hitting pulse lasers. So I end up with one large and one medium pulse laser in each arm, no autocannon, and the targeting computer. I might go back to something else because that doesn't, it does lose some firepower, but I want to see for a while if the increased accuracy damage of the lasers offsets the lack of the autocannon. It didn't really seem to the first mission
Good to
until I
go.
ran with it, but sometimes you got to run it a little more than just one or two to really see.
Roger that.
That Orion is in trouble. I think that's one reason I did do the weapons refit on this. Is I think it loses an arm and a torso, so since I had to refit it anyway, let's try a little bit of tweaking and see
Yes,
what happens.
Commander.
I also tweaked that Thor eventually and swap out the small lasers for mediums, so it has a little more firepower at range, doesn't have to close in quite so much. Not that it really takes a lot of damage or I lose a pilot or anything. I just decide, I want to be able to hit from a little farther out with that.
All weapons committed.
Bye-bye, Jaeger mech.
Enemy mech destroyed.
I have also been trying to get a couple of other games working to do walkthroughs or playthroughs when I'm done with this.
Confirmed.
One of them, I've got the game working just fine, but when they released it as a free, no longer supported program, they removed all of the briefing videos and cutscenes and everything else
Receiving you.
that made the game so interesting in the first place, and reduced the overall play time of it by like 2/3. I completed the entire game in one evening, so I'm not sure if I'm going to bother with that, or maybe just do a couple of longer videos rather than like 1 or 2 missions at a time like I've been doing this. It's a similar game to this, also in the BattleTech universe, but much older. Graphics are much different, and it's a real-time strategy as opposed to a turn-based one like this. So, Mech Commander 2, if you're familiar with them.
Warning. Armor
But
low.
I don't have a DVD or CD-ROM drive on my laptop here, even if I could get my hands on a copy of the old game, so I'm stuck using the freeware one that, it just isn't that great.
Critical hit.
As I said, it takes away a lot of the immersion and fun of the original game without all the movies and cutscenes and briefing videos and debriefing, and sitting through character arguments and everything else was half the fun of all that, so... because you're embroiled in the middle of a civil war, so kind of taking all of that out just kind of removes much of the appeal of the game.
Orders.
And I've been trying to run one of the old, that I really like, MechWarrior games, which I can get it to run. I can do everything except actually play the battles and campaigns of it, because I cannot get it to properly work video-wise. And as soon as I start to move, it just leaves shadows and trails everywhere, and I have done everything I can find online, put in every patch, used every workaround, tried every fan project, everything else that's supposed to fix all that, and none of it does anything, and I'm starting to get very, very frustrated with it. So I might just shit can that whole idea and not end up doing it. So there, yeah, I did lose an arm.
Warning. Weapon system
I like how it
destroyed.
almost turned, like the mech turned and looked at the arm there for a second. But it's one of those. That game is my favorite in the whole series, but it is so frustrating that I can get it to almost work, but not good enough to actually play it and
Locked on for
record it
physical
and show
attack.
it. It's very, very annoying. It installs properly. It installs right. It runs right up everything, all the
Scored a critical
briefings and
hit.
videos and cutscenes, and then the actual gameplay, it won't do it, which really, really pisses me off. I've even been going through finding YouTube tutorials and stuff on Reddit and everything else following to try to get it to work, and I cannot get it to function.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
MechWarrior 3 is my absolute favorite BattleTech computer game of any of them, and I had not played it now in probably 20 years. But MechWarrior
Waiting for
4 and all the add-ons and mods of that, and the
On my
current
way.
stuff, everything else, to me just can't hold a
Engaging.
candle to that one. Most immersive gameplay, the look and feel of it, to me, was the closest of all the games to what is described in the novels and everything else. To me, it's just the best out of the whole series, and I
Warning.
can't play it.
Armor breached. Internal damage.
My
Warning.
Marauder's taking
Armor
a
breached.
beating in this one.
Internal
I think
damage.
this is when I refit the whole thing, because it takes an absolute pounding in this mission. It's alright, this is nothing compared to what his Atlas takes in the next mission. Apparently I'm making up for all those
Firing all
headshots.
weapons.
He's being karmically repaid for the
Hostiles
mass
eliminated.
murder he pulled on that moon.
On my way.
See, this is, as I've said in an earlier one, this is what bugs me with the AI, is some of these pilots, he has no weapons left, and he's up against 4 intact mechs. He would just punch out rather than fight to death like this. But it's not coded in that way, so they don't.
Target neutralized.
Alright, and here we have a consecutive, which I think is the reason I went with the assault mechs, is because I'd taken damage on some of these and figured, the heck with it, let's upgun it and get through it. And it didn't really work out that way.
Mission success.
So here we go, we're
Command
dropping in with my
interface
assault
initiated.
lance, which does not go as well as I would have hoped. Nobody dies, but I definitely take a beating. I'm trying to leave a little more time for people to read the little things that pop up here. So now you're trying to move in and take
Good to
over
go,
this,
Commander.
the 31st century equivalent of a television studio, so that you can broadcast your challenge to this Tubbs
Heading out.
idiot that you need to fight here.
Sensors have something.
Copy
It's
that.
sad that the mercenaries that you're up
Got it.
against defending a TV station are more effective than either his supporters in the first mission or him and his lance in the final mission. If you don't know, just as a quick explanation, the whole thing with the Solaris 7 gladiators and all that stuff they're alluding to, there's a world in this, I believe is in the Lyran Commonwealth, but that's one of the, it's in a border region, if I remember right, that moves back and forth depending on era. Sometimes I think it's in the Free Worlds League too. But anyway, it's a world that over time has come to be kind of a planetary Las Vegas as far as entertainment goes, but it's entertainment of mech gladiators. There's giant arenas and all this other stuff that's like basically
Damage
keeping the
minimal.
technology of some Star League training stuff alive,
Receiving you.
as far as like moving things around and a little bit of holographic and things like that. But basically, it's using battle mechs for gladiator combat. And despite the fact that it's using old training stuff in some cases for the arenas, it is full contact, full power weapons and everything else that is very, very lethal and kills a lot of pilots. But just like with pro wrestling, those that get popular can make an absolute fortune and become astronomically famous. So, there's always those
Ready
looking
for
for
orders.
fame and fortune, so it never quite dies out. I mean,
Coordinates
they even,
received.
if I remember right, there's even a bit of lost tech where they
Target
have
acquired.
shielding to keep the weaponry from leaving the arenas and hurting the spectators in the stands that are watching it live and everything else. So it's a little bit out of place in BattleTech, but not so far off that it's been retconned or
Damage
taken
minimal.
out. It's an integral part of the
Receiving you.
universe. It's just kind of its own thing.
Move order received.
Plus, I think part of it is it's so instrumental to one of the character storylines from the Warrior trilogy. I think after that they couldn't get rid of it if they wanted
That
to,
hit
because
something
it's
good.
just it's a part of the background of one of the more prominent characters in the lore, so they couldn't get rid of it even if they wanted to, because everybody'd be like, wait a minute, this character
Damage
fought
minimal.
there through like 2 or 3 books. What happened to it? So. And if you're somebody who watches the videos and doesn't really get the references or who the character is because you haven't played the games, and the Black Pants Legion videos, when they talk about Duncan Fisher or have George Ledoux do the voice of Duncan Fisher that pops up in the videos, that is the announcer that you have when you are fighting on Solaris 7 and MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, I believe was the expansion. Was either Mercenaries or Black Knight Legion, I forget which it was. But either way, you get a chance to fight as a mercenary,
Damage minimal.
independent, stable fighter on Solaris. And the fights are actually commentated on by George
Warning.
Ledoux doing
Armor
that
low.
character. And it's gotten to be so popular in the fan base that Tech started working it into the videos for the BPL and all that. So it was a neat little tie-in with the universe to have the actor playing the character from the games. So George Ledoux playing celebrity D&D or
Engaging
doing
multiple targets.
community theater is Drunk Macbeth is hilarious. Yeah, once the Atlas starts to take some damage, they just kind of swarm in on him like piranhas on a wounded animal.
Ready for
So
orders.
I also get very unlucky with the dice rolls here. I have a couple of rounds where even if I hit with all of my weapons, they just don't seem to do any damage. Definitely not one of my more successful runs with the assault mechs here.
That turret is gone.
Yes, yes it is.
Warning. Enemy sensor lock detected.
Yeah, this second part, because of the damage
What's
I've
up, Bob?
taken, how long this fight lasts, is the longest of these. The third one is
Moving out.
almost anticlimactically short, so this one takes a while, though. And I didn't want to cut it out to show how badly I get my butt kicked. I don't save scum or try to make these look good. I film them and
Multiple
edit
targets
them as they
confirmed.
are, so sometimes I get my butt kicked. It just happens to have not happened on many of the ones that I'm filming. It's quite often on the ones I'm running
Critical
on the
hit,
side
Commander.
to make money and keep my finances going. I had one I ran earlier today.
Warning.
A couple of days ago
Armor
I played
breached.
this one.
Internal
But I had one I
damage.
played earlier today that was a non-Flashpoint mission that my repair bills and the downtime that I had, I think actually cost more than I made, both in C-bills and salvage on the mission that did the damage, so
I
it
copy.
happens sometimes. I think I had 3 pilots in the hospital and all 4 of my mechs needed major work, so wasn't good. But sometimes your mission briefings are very inaccurate. You get told you're going in against a single lance or whatever else, and you get in and that single lance is supported by, you know, 4 or 8 turrets and sometimes another lance or 2 of mechs and vehicles. So the employers are not always real forthcoming with what you're going to be up against. I goofed up too. I forgot to check before I launched in, and my Battlemaster is completely stock in this, which, as I've said before, the Battlemaster is not a terrible mech, but its stock configuration is not the most heat efficient, let's put it that way, of battle mechs. It carries a lot of weaponry.
Reporting. Minimal damage.
They also are doing
Good to
more
go.
damage to the infrastructure of this place trying to defend it than I'm doing attacking and taking it.
Ladder ready.
But, mercenaries.
Commander. Engaging.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like, this catapult just will not die. That spider will
Target's
not
taking a
die. That
critical hit.
Wolverine will not die. I think once I finally take this lance out, it goes like a normal battle, but it takes way too long, and they do
Standing
way
by.
too much damage for what they should be able to do.
On the move.
Yeah, both torsos, arm shot off, but and he's got almost no armor left, but he still won't die. Meanwhile, my Atlas is getting ripped apart by everything that can put a shot into it.
Battle mech operational. Engaging multiple targets.
How did that still not kill him? He had no freaking torso left, basically, and a Gauss rifle shot that knocked him over didn't kill him.
Enemy mech.
And neither one of them
damage
either.
detected.
2 PPCs into the Hunchback, 2 SRM6s into the Spider, nothing. The dice gods were not on my side for this match, that is for sure.
Warning. Armor low.
That is never a warning you should get after being shot by a spider.
Damage minimal.
Thankfully, all he has left is the small laser in his head.
Engaging multiple targets.
That should have killed him.
Enemy mech. Critical damage detected.
Unbelievable.
Critical.
A
Shutting
PPC and an SRM6 into a light mech with no armor left, and it still didn't knock it out. That's when you know you done pissed off the game gods. I find it funny the Wolverine has a medium laser in its head. Just finish these 2 idiots off.
Roger that.
Warning. Armor breached. Internal damage.
Ready for orders. Location confirmed.
Took the risk and exposed my back to the turrets, and he misses anyway.
Yes, Commander.
I think that groan was actually the groan of frustration when he missed, not the groan of exertion when he was doing it.
Taking the shot.
Oh my god, will you die?
They've got a sensor lock on me.
These are the matches that'll piss you off. Where the guy you're up against should have died 5 times over, but he's still fighting.
Armor breached. Internal damage.
And he's not even in a mech that's especially resilient. None of these ones were. I just am having terrible luck here. An armless catapult being kicked by an 85-ton assault mech,
Detecting
and
mech warrior injury.
doesn't do anything to it. A couple of his small lasers, however, blow up the ammo in my leg and knock me over and critically damage me. Ugh.
Good to go. Putting my weight into it.
Some days it just doesn't pay to roll out of the barracks.
You're clear to proceed to your next objective.
Finally.
Target neutralized.
To this point of the match has been half of this video, for Christ's sake.
Commander. Copy that. Engaging with target. Barely hit, Commander.
Yeah, good for you. Sorry for this particular pause. I was texting with somebody. When you're trying to multitask like that, it always seems to be you take a text right as you're in the middle of your turn to do something. It's never when you're sitting there for 10 minutes waiting for the computer to do its thing.
Commander. Confirmed.
Look at that. No armor and almost no structure left, and it still didn't die. Ay, 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 ay.
One less turret.
Somebody forgot to leave out an opening to, or offering to the war gods before they launched this mission.
Leg damaged. Speed reduced.
Yeah, no shit.
Target
Okay, only
destroyed.
one turret left. And we still haven't even gotten close enough to the thing for it to say that we've scouted the distribution facility. There it is, finally. We've taken out the first lance of defenders and 3/4 of the base defenses, and we've finally gotten close enough to actually quote-unquote scout the thing. And now there's another lance of mercenaries coming in.
Aye, aye.
Standing by. On it. Affirmative.
Alright, there's that. Now we can move everybody
One
up
less
and get
turret.
ready for the incoming.
I copy.
Yeah, after this mission, I go in and
Move
do
order
some
received.
serious tweaking to that Battle Master. Don't drastically alter it, but I give it much improved weapons and take a few things out to let it not generate quite so much
Roger.
heat. Keep it in the fight better.
Position confirmed. Roger.
Heads up, Commander. You've got hostile contacts inbound.
I like that those 3 buildings there and a couple other things make it look like you're standing next to a giant circuit board. It doesn't look like a hollow distribution facility. It looks like a motherboard out of an old computer. Or like the processor out of an old, very large calculator or something.
Copy that.
Open up an old Game Boy or something and tell me I'm wrong.
Orders.
That's what it looks like.
Affirmative.
So 2 mechs and 2 vehicles.
Firing on target.
Waiting for orders. Jumping. Roger that.
Didn't work, but I tried.
Standing by. Copy that.
So on top of the damage already done by the Battle Master, that's an LRM-15, 2 LRM-10s, 2 LRM-20s, all targeting the same section of that mech and didn't take it out.
Not much armor left in that location.
Or knock it over, for that matter,
Waiting
with
for
that many
orders.
missiles coming in. But whatever.
I copy.
Now it's down. Only
That's a
took
kill.
135 missiles into an already damaged section of torso.
Engaging target.
I love the impact of the Gauss rifle.
Oh. Oh, that hit meat.
Yeah, and she's injured, and I just lost a good chunk of
What's
my
up, boss?
weaponry.
Lifting off.
The Battle Master and the Atlas are both in really bad shape now.
Orders.
Oh yeah, she's just got 3 medium lasers and a PPC left.
That shot went internal.
Aye, aye.
Taro had already moved, so I try to take out the Demolisher if I can here before he gets his next move in, but I didn't finish him off, go figure. Hit the Kintaro with the Atlas.
Engaging target.
Commander.
You notice the red outline on a bunch of those spots there.
Affirmative.
If I haven't pointed out before, because I don't remember, that's telling me that if I am
Locking
there
in
when
all
the drop ship comes in to pick us up, I'm going to be squished and killed, which does happen, so you've got to be very mindful
Inflicted
of
some
that.
heavy damage. My flamer is empty.
Which should not happen, because in BattleTech, the flamer, supposedly, at least in the tabletop game, is fueled by your fusion reactor. But for some reason in the game, they decided to make it an ammo-based weapon, so whatever.
Good to go.
At least in the older versions, that might have changed. Now that I think about it, maybe that's something that changed in a more
Copy
recent
that.
version. But it used to be it vented plasma from the engine.
Think I hit something good.
He just stands up and doesn't even do anything. There, he's down. That leaves just the two vehicles.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Orders. Moving out. Roger that.
Demolisher's out. That leaves just the was it Manticore, I think, is the
And
last
stay
one left.
down.
Yep. Even more damage to the Battlemaster.
My mech is coming apart around me.
Yes, it is. Be glad they didn't fire that last bit of missiles at you. Probably would have done even more.
Orders.
Let's wrap this up. We got shit to do.
Acknowledged.
Just landed 90 tons on top of the tank, and that's a really good shot of the Leopard coming in there. That was a great angle. And after the long fight that was this, wait for the final fight here. It is so anticlimactic by comparison. And I'll explain why I make the choice I do here when it gets to it. Yeah, this is basically like Randy Savage and The Rock's illegitimate love child. Now, you'll see going forward here, he challenges you to a one-on-one fight, medium mech to medium mech. I've done it a couple of times. It's not impossible to do. But he is using what they call a Frankenmech, which is the chassis and look of one type of mech. In this case, there's different types of Frankenmechs with the weaponry of something else. It's really not what it looks like. And not only that, but at least every time I've done it and tried to do the straight up fight with him, he brings in 3 or 4 of his buddies to take you out. Because he's a douchebag. For all intents and purposes, he is a loudmouth, bully douche. So after a couple of times of doing it like that, I just said, you know what, I'm not going to play fair. I'm just going to kill this bastard and get done with this. Because in the end, it costs you
Here we
less,
go.
and you get the same pretty much pointless crap out of it. So why risk your pilot if you don't have to?
Location confirmed.
Best time I ever did with this doing it solo was I
Position
took him
confirmed.
on with my hatchet man and took out him and his support lance with a hatchet man. So that was fun. This is probably the fastest and most anticlimactic of any of these matches of this particular mission I've run.
Acknowledged.
Whatever I did to anger the dice gods in the previous one, I apparently made up for it because they're on my side for this one, that's for damn sure.
Got it.
So he is piloting a crab, quote unquote, but its loadout is not like any actual crab. It's very, very different.
Heads up, Commander. You've got hostile
And there's his
contacts
buddies
inbound.
just popped up on sensors, so. Bet you know where this is going. Oh, come on, there we go. A little glitch in the
Enemy
video
mech
there, sorry about
destroyed.
that. I think that was the computer going, "Are you kidding me? Not again," when I
Waiting for
hit
orders.
fire.
On it.
God, I love that Marauder.
We've got company.
The Warhammer's a damn
What's
good
up,
mech
boss?
too, but I love that Marauder.
I copy. Receiving you.
One time, just to be a dick, I ran this with full assault
Confirmed.
mechs. That was interesting. That was clubbing baby seals. You notice, for some reason in this playthrough, my pilots seem to do much better in heavy mechs than they do in assaults, which is one reason I've been mostly staying away from them. Because every time I run them, just like in the last match, I have really bad luck. Whereas my heavy mechs seem to be able to get the job done, so why bother?
Yeah.
I mean, the one pilot I've lost so far in this entire game was in an assault mech, so.
Here we go. Roger that.
Yeah, you notice too, none of these guys are really good repair. They got their weapons, but they're not in real good shape, armor and structure-wise.
Commander. Moving to position.
'Cause these are a bunch of broke-ass
Firing.
solo mech warriors that are retinue for a piece of shit Solaris jock, so they really
Forward,
aren't anything to
critical
worry
hit.
about. There's this, and there's another one I've got coming up where you get the sense that, I won't say you get the sense because it's always
Good to
been
go.
alluded to and even sometimes stated outright in the canon.
Roger.
But there are mercenary units, and then there are mercenary
On it.
units. You're not like you're one of the elite, but you really come up against some either
Hostile
merc
eliminated.
units or collections of warriors like this that really remind you that there are some really bad mech warriors out there that do not belong in a battle mech because they are all but useless. There's a couple of times you run into,
Send me a real mech warrior.
basically, yeah. There are times you run into opposing mercenary units in some of these missions where you're just absolutely mop the floor with them with almost no effort. It's almost pathetic. I mean, then there's ones that it's one hell of a fight, or they even kick your
All
ass,
weapons
but
committed.
there are definitely some way worse units than yours.
Enemy mech destroyed.
Yes, Commander.
Alright, down to those two left.
Lifting off. Taking the shot.
The trebuchet is half
That hit
disarmed
something
and
good.
lost most of his armor. And the Jaeger, which can hit hard but can take even less of a punch than it normally does.
Standing by. Roger.
Yeah, there Jaeger back.
Hostile removed.
Both of the Jaeger mechs went down to one shot.
Waiting
into
for
the
orders.
Center torso, basically. Now we finish off the
Affirmative.
trebuchet, and we're done with this.
Confirmed.
Here we go. So, that's the end of this. So we'll
Target
get through the little
neutralized.
mission debriefing and the talk, and then show what you get out of it, and then we will call it a day.
Mission successful.
Yeah, there's only about a minute left, so as always, thank you for watching this and sitting through. I would greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe. If you got any comments, feel free to drop them in, even just to tell me I suck at this. It's kind of lonely doing these. See y'all on the next one. Probably only be in a day or two. I've got the next one, the video in the can, just got to do the voice. Later.